Webflow recently released the AEO Playbook, basically a guide on AI search and how to optimize for it. I've been reading through it, and honestly I really enjoyed this one because it wasn't just another marketing ebook, it was about how search is changing altogether. And by the way, AEO stands for Answer Engine Optimization. It's a new term that is trending right now, and it's probably trending because search is no longer about keywords, it's about answers. It's no longer about trying to rank for best CRM, best web design agency, and that's because the user behavior is now shifting towards conversational search. You ask a question, then you follow up with another question, just like you would with a person. People are now looking for answers and explanations, not just website links. There was actually a nice stat in that playbook that shows how analytics are looking right now. It came from Bain & Company, which is some large consulting firm, and they found that organic traffic is down 15 to 25% across their websites. Now, this is not because people stopped searching for consulting firms, it's because the majority of people are now relying on AI summaries to get their answers instead of visiting websites. They're calling it the zero-click search. And zero-click means the user types a question, the AI gives the answer, and then the user leaves. They never actually visit your website. So if the majority of people are satisfied with this AI summary, we have to change how we build and structure websites. If you want your Webflow website to be the source that the AI quotes in that summary, you need a new strategy. The playbook breaks this down very nicely. Webflow released this framework to help us deal with this. They're calling it the AEO maturity model. Think of this as a roadmap towards AEO. It takes you from level 1, which is old school keyword stuffing, to level 5, which is authority and fully AI optimized. Then they break this down into 4 pillars: content, technical, authority, and measurement. So we're going to go through these briefly because these are things that you can actually apply to your workflow right now. Let's start with content. This is where the maturity model is most useful. At level 1, you're just writing for keywords. You're writing essays to hit a word count. AI hates that. It doesn't care about your intro, it just wants the data. The playbook says we need to move to level 3, which they call question clusters. Here's what question clusters actually look like when I'm building. When you create a CMS collection, stop thinking in paragraphs and start thinking in questions and answers. Instead of just one giant, rich text called body, I'm structuring the content to answer specific questions. So my H1 is a question and then followed by the answer. My H2 is a question followed by an answer, and so on. So for example, if my page is about Webflow versus WordPress, I'm putting the specific question in the heading. What is the difference between Webflow and WordPress? And then I'm putting the direct answer right there in the first sentence. This is because LLMs are lazy. They want to grab the snippet and serve it to the user. Otherwise, they're just gonna skip and go to the next source. If you bury the answer inside a large text, you stay at level 1 and the AI most probably is gonna ignore you. This takes us to the second pillar, which is technical. Now, the playbook mentions that almost 88% of sites aren't using schema markups. This is a huge missed opportunity because schema markups is basically the language that the bots can speak. It's kind of like a sticky note on your code that says, hey, this is a summary of what this page is all about. Webflow actually added a native tool for this. In your page settings under SEO, you have this schema markup section. There you can generate schema markup directly, and it automatically maps your CMS field, which is great. It makes the entire process very easy, although I recommend double checking before you publish. Now, this is basically spoon feeding the AI. You're telling ChatGPT, here's what this page is all about. It makes it 10 times easier for the bots to cite you as the source. The third pillar is authority, and this matters because AI has a major flaw. It hallucinates. It doesn't trust you, or it cannot verify who you are. It might just make up features about your product that doesn't exist. Now, usually when we talk about authority, we think about backlinks or mentions on Reddit or G2. And the playbook does mention that third-party validation is huge, but it's a little bit more than that. Basically, if you say your software is the fastest, the AI might be skeptical, but if a verified user on Reddit or LinkedIn says it, the AI might believe it. But before you go chasing Reddit mentions, you have to fix your own site first, because the AI is looking for something called EEAT: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, did the human write this, or was it just another AI bot? So for example, look at your authors page and the sources you cite on the content on your Webflow website. Are you just using a generic admin user for the blog post? This kills authority. For example, on your author page, or on your CMS page, the author needs to have a job title, a LinkedIn URL, and maybe a short bio on their page that proves who they are and proves they know what they're talking about. Now, when the AI crawls your site, it connects the dots and it says, okay, this article was written by Jane. Jane has a LinkedIn profile that says she's a senior developer. Therefore, I can trust this article about coding. Now we come to the final pillar, which is measurement. This is the one that trips everyone up, because if 0 clicks is the new normal and people aren't visiting your site, how do you even know if any of this is working? We're used to tracking keyword rankings. You check Google Search Console, you see you rank number 1 and you celebrate. But in ChatGPT, there is no rankings. There is just the answer. So the playbook says we have to shift our mindset from ranking to what they call share of voice. You need to start asking, when someone asks ChatGPT about the best CRM, how often is my brand mentioned in the answer? Is it 10% of the time, 50% of the time? And more importantly, is this mention positive? Is the sentiment positive in the answer? There are tools coming out now that can track this. Webflow mentions a few like Profound or Graphite, but you can also do this manually. Let's say you pick your top 5 buyer questions, ask them to ChatGPT or Gemini every once in a week, see if you show up, and if you don't, go back to pillar 1 and pillar 2, fix your content structure, fix your schema, and then try again. You can also use the temporary chat feature in ChatGPT, which is kind of like incognito mode to search. So this is the strategy. Webflow's playbook basically says, move from keywords to answers, fix your technical schema, build real authority, and measure your share of voice. But knowing the strategy is different from actually doing it. I have put together a Webflow AEO checklist that takes this theory and turns it into a step-by-step action plan. I'm going to make a separate video walking you through the checklist so you can have this on your screen while you're working on your site. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video, and I will see you in the next one.